What if you could turn stress into clarity and strength in under 20 minutes? Today's guest has spent 50 years in mindfulness and built an AI-powered app that helps you shift into flow exactly when you need it. But his real passion lies in human transformation.
Help people stay centered and calm while they're at work. And that eventually led to me doing an app. The App Store first started back in 2011. I created an app called Stress Shift. Now I've sort of updated that and incorporated AI to now do a whole new tool that helps people very quickly shift their stress and get out of that survival mode and get back into the way you tell is your body feels different. You start to feel lighter, you start to feel more energy, your brain starts activating and you feel energized. Why do you do the lie detector? Because your body tells the truth, whereas your mind is constantly giving you illusion. Stress comes, it's a threat times a perceived, you perceive the threat based on a belief. It doesn't make sense. This process brings it up to a conscious level where you can discern and evaluate. Does this make sense? Do I really want to continue to believe this? Is this what I really want to believe about myself, that I'm no good, or people don't like me, or I'm never going to make it? What are you feeling? What are you experiencing? What am I learning? Am I growing? Am I doing what I really want to be doing? And just ask some powerful questions and hang out with those questions. Sometimes the questions are more powerful than the answers.
Welcome back to the Champion Mindset Collective podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Dahya. I'm grateful that you're here listening or watching to this episode. And I'd love for you to share this episode with your friends, your family, and your workmates. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to this podcast so that you don't miss any future episodes. And we can get this podcast out to the wider community. This podcast is also sponsored by AI Workflows Agency, which is my AI Workflows business. We help businesses, owners who are struggling in their business, who are doing all that repetitive work, working in their business, and want to actually spend more time doing meaningful things. Well, we come in and we help you refine your processes, make them efficient, and then help you automate all that so that you don't have to worry about it. And you don't have to worry about letting people go either, because it's about keeping the human in the loop and making sure that the humans and AI are working together. Well, today's guest is a true pioneer who has combined two powerful worlds of business, technology, and personal growth. For over 30 years, he's led KeyBiz Systems, a business software company serving thousands worldwide. But his real passion lies in human transformation. After spending a decade living in an ashram, just like I did, teaching mindfulness and meditation, he launched seminars and programs that have impacted countless lives. Now he's bringing it all together in his latest innovation, KiFlow, an AI-powered app designed to help you uncover the root causes of stress, reframe challenges, and transform pressure into purpose in real time. Welcome, Allen, to the Champion Mindset Collective podcast.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me here.
Pleasure to have you on the podcast. Now, I'm just going to ask you to help me pronounce your name right. It's Allen Imbarrato, is that correct?
Imbarrato, yes, there you go.
Imbarrato, there we go, right. There's something in common that we have, and we discussed this on the podcast discovery call that we had, that we both spent time in an ashram. And it was interesting because on that day that we had that conversation, there was like another person that I spoke to before you that was in an ashram as well. So tell me about your journey, Allen, from childhood and then going into going into the ashram, and tell us about that experience and how did you come to starting KeyBiz Systems and getting into AI, but also what inspired you to start KiFlow?
Well, those are a lot of questions there to start with. All right. I grew up in the 50s, when things were pretty rigid and fixed in terms of the way people thought about things. And we didn't have any AI or internet or anything like that growing up. And I grew up in a pretty middle-class, typical dysfunctional family, lots of alcohol, lots of not conscious living, you might say. And I went down the path. I was doing really well in school, and I went to UCLA, and then the 60s happened around that time, and everything was like blowing up. and questioning, and I got very involved in the anti-war movement, the peace movement, and I started working with the top leaders of the peace movement, and got very involved in that to the point where I actually had to made the decision to drop out of college because these things were burning issues of the time. And I got involved with one of the leaders of the peace movement, a member of the Chicago Seven, Rennie Davis, and he was leading huge demonstrations in Washington. And then he got involved with this guru from India after a little while, and he came and told me about this opportunity to find inner peace. So I explored that. I went back and forth between being political and being more spiritual. So at that point, I decided to join the ashram and learn meditation. I would spend many hours of a day meditating and understanding the deeper realms of reality, you might call it. And I eventually became a meditation teacher and traveled all over North America. I was one of this guru's meditation teachers. And in touring all around, I learned a lot about how people were having problems meditating. And the biggest problem that they had was they had to go to work every day. And so I began, when I left the ashram, became very interested in how to integrate that inner world of peace and how that carry over into the work life. And that's when I began creating a seminar called Winning at Work and at Life. And that was all about how people could win at work, but then lose at life because they are doing things in their work where they're not aligned to their true purpose or not aligned to what they really want to be doing. They're just surviving in that work, and their health is not a priority. The relationships aren't a priority. Family, everything is about surviving and making money. So I got very interested in what these survival strategies were and saw that most people are compromising, and it's costing them really their true self, their authentic self, because people are trying to fit in, they're trying to be make belong and not get fired so they can keep their job. And that was like shutting down a lot of their energy. So that's where I began to develop these tools which help people stay centered and calm while they're at work. And that eventually led to me doing an app in the App Store. When the App Store first started back in 2011, I created an app called Stress Shifter. And now I've sort of updated that and incorporated AI to now do a whole new tool that helps people very quickly shift their stress and get out of that survival mode and get back into their flow.
It's interesting. Like I said before, I've been in an ashram myself. I spent 6 years in India, from the age of 7 to 12 years old, or 13, and for me, it was more of an abandonment experience because I was dropped off and left there. But what you talked about before, about people being in their jobs and not actually aligning to their true purpose and their authentic selves, I've lived there. I've been there, and I was so scared to be let go from my job that after 24 restructures and 4 redundancies, I was like, okay, well, it was, as they say, whatever you resist is going to persist, right? So
Yes.
I kept resisting these things, but it just kept persisting, and that's when I started to realize that, hey, something had to change in my life, and I had to get out of the 9 to 5 and actually follow the true purpose and passion and alignment, authentic self. So that was, for me, that's been like the last 2 to 3 years journey that I've been on. But yeah, absolutely. Having something like the KiFlow is amazing to help people really, get out of that chatter that happens in our brain all the time. And majority of the time that chatter is not even real. It's just based on perceptions that of things that have happened in the past, or the fear of the future. Um, so, can you walk us through how KiFlow helps someone transform their stressful situation into a more positive flow state? And I believe that happens in under 20 minutes. Is that correct?
It certainly can. It's a four-step process. It's called the 4F process. First, you face your stress and admit your stress. Many people are in denial about how stressed they are, or don't even, they've been stressed. It's become the norm. They don't even know how stressed they really are because it just seems like always their body is tense or tight inside. And you don't realize how much that's just a chronic stress reaction. So the first F is facing. And then the second F is focusing and finding out what's triggering that stress. Most people, it's a subconscious reaction. Your stress response system is designed to keep you safe and rise to the occasion when a threat occurs. But unfortunately, we're operating on a 25 million year old operating system, a Stone Age operating system in our nervous system that was originally designed to alert you to physical threats like lions, tigers, and bears.
Mm.
But now, most of the time, we're getting triggered by social threats. And these social threats are tied eventually back to physical threats because the social threats are you want to belong, you want to fit in, you want to play it safe. So, for instance, you go into a meeting and in the meeting, things are coming up and you want to say something and you feel like you have an important contribution to make, but you don't want to make waves. You want to play it safe. So you shut yourself down. You start to feel sweaty palms. You start to feel a tenseness in your neck. You start to feel something in your stomach, perhaps. You notice the physical sensations of the stress reaction starting. Your, your prefrontal cortex, which is your creative brain, starts to shut down and you start to feel a little brain fog. Those are all the symptoms of stress. But underlying it, there's some emotions. You know, there's anxiety, there's worry, there's anger, there's rage, there's all sorts of reactions going on. And underneath that, there's some thoughts.
Mm.
I don't belong here, or I don't, my opinion doesn't matter, or I'm not good enough to speak up, or, you know, things go on in your brain that freeze you. So there's like fight, flight, and freeze. So usually you withdraw and then you shut down. So the second stage is focusing to get to what is the bottom line fear that made you feel unsafe in that meeting. And usually, oh my God, there's a belief. If I say what I want to say, people might criticize me, or people might disapprove of me, or people might think I'm crazy, or might people, you know, so there's some belief that feeds the fear that I'm not good enough. I can't say that, you know, I'm not qualified enough, or I haven't been here long enough, or I don't have the experience. So once you realize that that's an old belief that got pre-programmed in
Mm.
your survival brain, your what we call your amygdala, which is sort of
Mhm.
like a smoke alarm. Okay, smoke alarm is designed to go off when you actually have a threat. But what happens is that the smoke alarm keeps going off, and you don't know how to turn it off.
Mm.
And that's where stress resilience comes in. That's what the app is all about. So the second step is getting clear exactly what's triggering your stress. So then you go into the third step, which is freeing you to let go of that old program, that old belief. And you take charge as an adult now and you redesign this old belief that really fits who you really are. And you know, can say things like, I do matter, or my opinion does matter, or I am competent, or I am good enough. And you find the one that actually makes the shift. And the way you tell is your body feels different. You start to feel lighter. You start to feel
Mm.
more energy. Your brain starts activating and you feel energized. So that's a key part of the process is your body doesn't lie. It's like a lie detector. Okay. Why do you do the lie detector? Because your body tells the truth, whereas your mind is constantly giving you illusions. So I say that stress comes, it's a threat times a perceived, you perceive the threat based on a belief. Oh my God, here's a snake. Okay. Some people will see a snake Oh, that's very cute. It's like very colorful. It's got all these designs on it. And then people say, "Oh my God, that's a snake." Or the other day I was walking and there was a bee. And it's like, "Oh my God, here's a bee." And it's like you get all panicky because you perceive a threat. Same way an
Mm,
email comes from your boss. Oh my God, my boss is going to criticize me or it's going to make me do something I don't want to do. And you start to feel queasy. Or, oh my God, here comes Monday morning. And on Sunday, you start to anticipate the workday, and already your weekend is ruined because you're so worried about what's going to happen on Monday. So it's just going off and creating these illusions. So fear means false expectations appearing real. So the process of stress, to the extent you believe that threat is real, that your boss could fire you, or if you're in a traffic jam, for instance, and you're late to work. Oh my God, I'm going to be late to work. I'm going to be late to the meeting. And I might, that eventually it leads back to survival. I might lose my job. If I lose my job, oh my God, I won't be able to pay my bills. If I can't pay my bills, I won't survive. So it's like
mm,
all tied together and it compounds in your brain and it's all illogical. It doesn't make sense. So this process brings it up to a conscious level where you can discern and evaluate. Does this make sense? Do I really want to
yeah,
continue to believe this?
yeah, yeah,
Is this what I really want to believe about myself, that I'm no good or people don't like me or I'm never going to make it? Like, all those things that go pre-programmed. So the idea is to begin to evaluate, are these beliefs really true? Is this really uh, a statement I want to continue to invest in believing about myself? Or do I want to change that belief? So that's the freeing stage. So you had
mm,
facing, focusing, freeing, and then you come up with a new vision and you come up with a new intention and then you take action. And that's what gets you back into your flow. And that's the last step is
yeah,
flow. I don't know. It
absolutely.
was a lot.
Yeah,
You
look,
follow that?
yeah, absolutely. Look, it's it, to me, what you've just described as I know it like the back of my hand. Like we're living in autopilot. Your brain is basically deleting, distorting, and generalizing information, right? And then we make decisions, or we are fearful of things. But I see fear as a friend. And as you said before, false evidence appearing real, but you have the opportunity to face everything and rise. We often, with fear, take a step back. But imagine if we had the curiosity and go, I'm going to go head first into this. I'm actually going to face this because there's that saying, what is in the way is the way forward. And if you back off, then you're not actually moving forward. And also what you said about the body remembers, the body keeps the score. It remembers every single thing that's happening in your life. And I know from past experience, and even now, I'm in a situation at the moment where I'm feeling maybe a little bit of stress, and I know that my upper back and my back keeps is tense because I'm under stress. But like you said before, often we don't even recognize it because we've been so tense all the time that that your body doesn't even know how to release, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's where it's so important to mindfulness and meditation and really becoming one with yourself. And I like this the saying where, and people like Sadhguru and people talk about this, where you zoom out of your body and you start observing yourself and actually and seeing what's happening for you. And Tony Robbins says, life happens for you, not to you. But also like when you everything that you desire or everything that you're looking for in the external world is actually already there internally. And if we only look internally and we stop limiting ourselves and actually believing in who we are, and the way that we're created and as creators, the whatever the higher divine power is has created as creators, then we have the ability to create our future, and have an unlimited future, right? Be limitless. So I totally resonate with what you said there, and it's been my journey up until now of doing exactly what you just talked about. Yeah. So,
Well, one of the key
um,
things you said is practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness is all about non-judgmental awareness, being the observer
mm, mm,
and seeing stress as an opportunity to learn and grow as a signal that you're off track, that you're
Hmm.
that you've gone into fear rather than staying in passion and purpose and power.
Yeah,
So when
absolutely.
your body starts to feel uncomfortable, that's a sign, an opportunity to grow stronger
Mm,
and start the inquiry and go through the process of the stress shifting and learning how to become resilient faster and faster. So when you said 20 minutes, it really can happen in 20 minutes. And you, as you develop the skill, it's not just a matter of willpower. And that's why we have a tool to help people. It's really
mm,
about learning uh, a skill. And that's why the app can be there every day for your life. And it's like we've built AI into it. So it's like very personalized. And the app, we've created an AI coach called KiFlow. And KiFlow gets to know you and build a relationship with you and understand your patterns and understand where your core beliefs get you stuck and get you off track. So ultimately, if you understand there's a core belief that you have an opportunity to become aware of that's been there for a long time, and you have a chance to bring that to consciousness, then you have the opportunity to learn to grow. And that's how you're going to become mentally strong and have the resilience to keep performing. But the problem is people like shut down their life and they live at a lower level and play small because they don't want to push the limit. They don't want to feel uncomfortable.
mm.
But if you really are here for your purpose and you align to your purpose, you want to play much bigger and have a much bigger impact in the world. And so that really requires the skill of how to not be afraid of anything, that any fear is not to be controlled by eliminating anyone in your life that makes you feel threatened or not taking that job that would make you feel stressed because it would be too challenging or not
Mm,
taking that risk. So you keep the limits on to help you feel comfortable, but really that's making you feel really uncomfortable because it keeps the stress in your body. Is this making
yeah,
sense?
absolutely. Yeah, and my experience has been that the more I went into a corporate job and so on, I actually was I stayed limited and because I had to work within the bounds of what someone else wanted me to do, right? And when you showed initiative and when you tried to go the extra mile and actually be your authentic self, people didn't like that. Because hey,
Right.
how dare you be your authentic self?
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and I remember in my last corporate job where a manager came up to me and said, "You need to stop worrying about other people in your team, and you just need to start worrying about what you want." And I I turned around and I said to this person, I said, "What I want goes way beyond this organization." And I said, "I'm showing up authentically here, and you don't like that, and that triggers you." And I said, that's not my problem." I said, that's on you, not on me. But I said, I will not give up on my workmates and my team because they are like family to me. And so I realized that for me, every time I showed up authentically, people didn't like that all of a sudden because you've changed. You're not the same person you used to be,
Yeah. They
right?
want to keep you in that box because that
Exactly.
would trigger them.
Exactly. And so, and the thing is, everything we do is we mirror back to ourselves, right? So, um, and so for me, going on this journey of actually starting my own business, and even this podcast was this podcast was birthed out of adversity, and it was years and years of corporate world where people were told me that you talk too much and you need to shut up. And when I started this podcast, I felt like I actually could speak my truth now, and I could actually have a voice, and no one's going to shut me down because it's my podcast,
Right.
right?
Good for you. Good for you.
And the same thing in the business is that starting a business actually allowed me to start stepping out of my comfort zone and actually living who I am or meant to be. So I got another question for you. So why is it so important not just to manage the stress, but also to transform it? And what is the difference between managing it and transforming it?
That's an excellent question. This is a key distinction. Most people just want to have stress relief. They just want to get rid of the body sensation.
Mm,
So they have each one has developed a coping strategy. Everyone knows, oh, I just need to drink a little alcohol. That will change my body sensation. Or I need to take a smoke. Or I need to go for a run. Or I need to eat some food. And that will change my body sensation. Or I need to just do a quick meditation, and have a guided visualization. And all of those are like band-aids and give you some relief, but they're not going to the core issue of what's triggering your stress. And you're not
Mm,
seeing stress as an opportunity to learn and grow. You're seeing stress as an annoyance. Oh my God, I hate feeling myself in my body when I get stressed. I just got to get rid of this horrible feeling. So the problem is we don't grow. Our capacity to grow as a human being is our capacity to own all our emotions, own all our sensations, and expand our capacity to experience our life fully. And the more that you see stress as an opportunity to grow, you see it as an opportunity to transform yourself and get out of those limitations that got pre-programmed and as a child. And we're still living these childhood strategies out. We're still trying to get the approval that we didn't get as a child. We're still trying to get away from people trying to control us. Like
mm,
corporations, they count on being able to control people. And people like it because they get the money and there's a certain comfort in getting that paycheck. But like you said, the cost that you began to feel, it's scary to actually become aligned to your purpose because now there's no rules. You're making it up. You are the creator. You're taking responsibility for your life. So that's what
yeah.
it means to transform stress. And that's why this app is so important, KiFlow. It's in the available now that people can just take a free trial and just try it out and see what is triggering your stress and how to transform that and make a breakthrough. It's like most people just want to get out of the breakdown of their energy. But if you want to really reach your potential and increase your capacity to experience more and more energy into your body, you have to get out of those limitations in your body to allow more energy to come through you. And like that's what you're saying Tony Robbins says. It's like he's all about expanding your energy field to allow more energy to come through you.
100%, 100%. I believe that life is about expansion. It's about continually expanding yourself and expanding your comfort zone. I like what Rob Dial, the mindset mentor, says. He says, in your comfort zone, your dreams go to die.
Right.
And staying stuck in your comfort zone, your dreams go to die. Now that should be scary enough
Yeah.
to for someone to go, hey, I don't want my dreams to die. And the thing is, the more you expand, the more your brain goes, oh, that wasn't too bad. Now, a good example is my daughter when she's 11 now, but when she was younger, and I'd take her to the playground and she'd be climbing somewhere, she'd be trying to do something, and she goes, oh, Dad, I can't do it. And I said, Olivia, just put your one foot here and do this and do that, and I'd guide her along, and she would try it a couple of times, it wouldn't happen, and then the third time she'd go, I did it, and then the next time, so her brain's telling her that I can actually do this. And, as if we just took that curiosity as children and actually went back to our child self and helped our inner child, become more confident and heal through some of those things, and because we are the adult in this relationship with with a little child self, and we've got to take the lead. And if we stay stuck in our child self, then we're never going to grow. We're never going to expand. So yeah, expansion is so important. I'd like to ask you: are there any common insights or breakthroughs that you've heard of when people use KiFlow? And would you mind sharing a success story or two?
Well, I can give you some quotes of some people that have given testimonials of
Mm,
what they've been through and how that's helped them. I mean, basically, it's like we dealt with nurses. Okay, we have a program in hospitals, and we
Mm.
had nurses go through our program, and it's like nurses are under constant pressure all the time. It's like one crisis after another, and so these nurses took our program, and one nurse said, KiFlow helps me pause, understand my stress, and use it for growth. I trust myself more and have to let go of unhealthy self-judgment. Or another nurse said, KiFlow transformed my understanding of stress from something to avoid to a very powerful signal for growth. I now see
Mm.
stress not just as a challenge, but as an opportunity to build resilience, assess underlying issues, and prioritize well-being.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many examples of that it come to, that we've had over 30,000 people like download our app now. We've only released it a few months ago in each app store. But it's like, it doesn't matter what culture you're in. We've had people all over the world, be downloading it. And each culture has their way of creating stress. Okay. And particularly in America, we're pretty stressed. I mean, we have a very toxic culture right now with all the threats that are going on. People are being uh, taken off the streets for no reason, for no processing, and thrown away, and they disappear. And it's like, this is not America. Or they're trying to shut down our freedom of speech and get
Mm.
people who speak up on talk shows and get them off the air. I mean, this is unheard of. Oh, our country is supposed to, be known for freedom of speech. I remember when I went to college in Berkeley, we had the free speech movement. That was back in the 60s. And it's like we're going the opposite direction now. So people are not feeling safe anymore, just,
Mm.
to walk around. But so that's why we need to become what I call anti-fragile. We need to be more tough. We need not to be defined by all these forces and have our own inner strength and be self-empowered so that we can face these challenges. That's what it actually means to be a champion, I think, is
Yeah.
really build that inner strength.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's like a tree that's been around for years, and it's withered the storms. It's, and it's still standing, right? And it's being resilient like a tree, where you ground yourself into Mother Nature, ground yourself through meditation um, into nature, and then you start to, build that resilience up. Every time stress happens, you move towards it. You and you conquer it and keep moving forward. And that's the only way you can. And like, there have been many times in 3 years of doing this podcast where I've not felt like I've got I don't feel like doing the podcast today. And I had to remind myself that I was the host of the Champion Mindset Collective podcast. And what kind of host would I be if I didn't follow my own advice? And and but the thing is, you build that resilience over time. So you weather every single storm that comes in, and life is going to have challenges, but those challenges help us expand and grow and become who we're meant to be. And it's I believe that every challenge that we go through is actually already pre-written for us to go through, because that's how our soul actually heals and gets to the point where we can then ascend to wherever we need to go. Um, and so,
But how do you
if
know when you're challenged? What does it feel like to be challenged? What happens?
it's
You hit your,
scary.
it's a challenge because you've hit a limit
You've hit
inside
a limit.
yourself,
Yeah, but if that's
and your
because
body, yeah,
yeah,
reflects that to you.
exactly. And that's because we're setting a glass ceiling above us and going, hey, this is my limit. But I've always believed there is no limit, right? Sky's the limit. But if you listen to the quote that Marilyn Monroe said, she said, the sky is not the limit. Your mind is the limit. And if we just expand our mind, then imagine what you can achieve, right?
Yeah, in actuality, it's not just really expanding your mind, it's going beyond your mind.
Beyond your
There's
mind.
something
Yeah.
When you meditate, you experience we're connected to a unified field of energy.
Mm,
That it already exists. We're already connected energetically to this infinite source of energy inside of ourselves, which is way beyond our mind cannot comprehend it. It's like people like probably are listening to this and say, what is this guy talking about? Going beyond your mind. You can't do that. Well, in meditation, you can. And
can,
you
yeah,
can tap into this amazing understanding that we're not our body, we're not our mind, we're really a being. And this beingness, that's why we're called human beings, not human
things, yeah.
doings. It's
Mm-hmm.
like human doings just do things, do. But human beings can just be with what is. And you don't, it's not a matter of improving it. It's already perfection just the way it is.
Yeah,
But we just have to tap into that and stay connected to it. And it informs all our decisions. It's supporting us, it's loving us, it's very
mm,
peaceful. But when you're in a stress reaction, when your smoke alarm is always going off, you're always in this panic mode and it's reactive mode. And you're not tuning in to that other frequency. It's like a radio station.
yeah,
It's just going on and it just like goes on and on and on and doesn't stop. But it's like switching the station and tuning in to more of a calm, centered, creative thing.
totally,
And that's what
totally.
our app does is it helps you make that shift from reactivity back into creativity.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're in the flow with that energy, then, like you said, it's like a radio station. It's the law of attraction. You then attract what already is aligned to you, but you've got to align to that energy first. If you don't align to that energy, then you're you're basically trying to force things, right? And it's, as you said, when we just be and trust and let the universe just, that energy just let us go, let it guide us, then that's when magic happens.
That's
So
that's that's surrender. You have to let go
let go. Yeah,
of what you think and
exactly.
go beyond and just tap in to that river of experience that just is already flowing there.
Flowing with the
And
river. Yeah,
yeah, you have to just jump in and let go and let trust the river is going to take you where you really want to go. Because a lot of times
yeah,
we just can worry. Oh my, we're not. Are we going to get there? Are we going to get there? Am I going to get my goal? Am I going to make enough money? Am I going to, get this relationship? Am I going to, whatever it is? We worry. But it's just like an athlete when it gets into the zone and they get into
yeah,
the rhythm. And I don't know
yeah.
if you follow basketball, but in the basketball analogy, they just start everything just starts going in.
Mm,
Just like they just keep hitting basket after basket.
yeah.
Um, and what is it in your life that it's like we just don't know. Our mind is just too limited. It can't figure it out. But there's some higher power that knows exactly how to guide us, and we have to trust our intuition and
Mm,
let go. But if you're so concerned about being right or looking good and getting approval, you don't pay attention to all those inner signs, those intuitions, and you disregard them. And
you
that's
miss
what
those
leads you astray.
opportunities.
It's like
Yeah,
cars now have these sensors. When you go out of the lane, it starts beeping, you know, you're drifting. And that's what your stress response system can see you as a friend. It just, the stress goes off. It's like, oh, I have to get back into my flow, into my lane, and just start
yeah,
seeing it as a companion, as a friend. And that's what this app is like, you just pick it up like any time of day. You can just like tell your stress story. Oh, I'm feeling stressed about this. And it takes you into a flow process.
mm, that's amazing. That's great. By the way, my car actually not only beeps, but it rattles, and then the steering wheel automatically takes me into the lane.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah,
Wow.
because it's got sensors and and when you're driving it, you can feel the steering wheel turning, which is quite disconcerting for some people, but I quite enjoy it. So sounds like an amazing app that's going to like guide you on this journey in life. I'm definitely going to be downloading it and trying it myself as well. So you've built and run a successful business. a software company for over 30 years. How has that experience shaped the way you developed KiFlow?
Well, we create software that runs a whole business, a whole small business, that runs
Mm,
every aspect of a business from CRM, lead management, into quoting, invoicing, fulfillment, purchasing, accounting, manufacturing. And as we've helped streamline a business and help create a strong infrastructure to scale, I see the bottleneck in a leader is their mindset. Okay,
mm,
and why I became very interested. And if you're really going to scale, you have to grow. The leaders have to grow in a company. It's
mm,
like I belong to the CEO group, and one of the leaders says, if you want to grow and scale your company 20%, you have to grow 60%.
mm,
So KeyFlow is an opportunity to reorganize your internal operating system and change the internal software. Like key means energy, flow, okay? Key Biz is the name of our software. So software is like the individual energy in your company, how your energy moves together. I don't know if you ever heard of Feng Shui, but Feng Shui is all about the energy in an environment. So the software pretty much is the foundation of every company. Your information is the key thing, your data. And most companies have very disconnected data. They have 6 or 7 programs that don't talk to each other, or 8 programs, or they have teams, remote teams, and they're not coordinated. So things drop through the cracks, or things get lost, or customers get dropped, or things get forgotten because your systems aren't integrated, or you don't, because your programs don't talk to each other, you don't have the analytics to inform to make better business decisions.
mm,
You can't use AI to get insights if your information is not the foundation to feed in to the AI to give you those insights. So we built a platform that's very much like Salesforce or NetSuite, has all the same features, but it's much more affordable and much easier to customize. So
mm,
instead of most companies try to fit their business into their software, but we work with a client and we have long-term relations of 15, 20 years that keep growing a company to customize it to make it exactly fit the way they want their company. So we encourage people to have a big vision, and then we support their vision to help them execute it. But part of that is internally, if you don't feel empowered and passionate about your business, you're not going to create a big vision. You're just going to stay in a rigid, fixed mindset. So the
mm.
key to growing your business is to have a growth mindset. And that's what
Absolutely.
our KiFlow app is about, is supporting people to move from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. And that's
Yeah,
why I've taken all my technology skills and applied them to create this app. I hope that answers
yeah,
your question.
yeah, it does, Alan. Alan, like you started this company, well, you've been in software business but for over 30 years, but um, when you started this company, like I'm at the beginning of my journey in being a business owner. So could if there's people listening out there who are in a job and they're wanting to start their own business and do something that is aligned to their authentic self and their purpose, what advice would you give them as someone who's already been there and is on this journey already, of starting their company and like from a there are going to be challenges, there are going to be stressful moments, but what can and of course, KeyFlow is going to help them through this process. But what else could you tell? Insights could you give them that would help them on this journey?
The first thing is to trust yourself.
Mm,
You've been all your life, you've been prepared with a certain purpose. Okay. You already know what you're good at, what your zone of genius is.
mm,
But whether you trust that or not is the key thing. So the hardest thing is to take that first step to trust yourself, to take that risk, to believe enough in yourself that you do have a purpose, you do matter, and to begin to feed that rather than I just got to make money. I just got to pay my bills. I got to be like everybody else. I don't want anyone to stick. I don't want to stick out. I don't want to make any waves. I don't. I don't want to just get everyone's approval that I'm doing the right thing or do what my parents told me. A lot of people will go through whole medical school or whole law school because that's what their parents groomed them to be, and then they won't practice. I know a lot of people like that that never practiced law because they found out they really didn't like that. They didn't really want that. I know for me, when I first went to college, I thought all my friends were going to be lawyers, and I thought I was going to be a lawyer. But then I went to I had a job in the law library. I realized, I don't really like this. That's not what I really want to be doing. So I've had my own company now for almost 40 years. Okay.
Mm.
And I started off, not knowing, but now, I'm a multimillionaire and I'm a multi seven-figure business. I wouldn't have known how to get here, but it was just taking one step and another step and another step. And the universe, it's like it said, you take that one step and the universe rises to support you in that next step. And then you take another step. It's not comfortable. It's not safe. It's not seemingly safe, but the safety of the comfort, like you said, in your comfort zone, that's where your dreams go to die. It makes you alive and you feel energized and you have a reason to wake up in the morning. So all I can say is take that first step and trust yourself, and you'll be led to go where you need to go.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. And the analogy I like to use is that, an automatic door, right, has a sensor, and it won't open until you actually step up to the sensor. That's when the door will open for you. And so if we keep scared and not move towards that sensor, and you may have to go to multiple doors to get to where you want to be. Um, and so, yeah, I encourage everyone who's listening to this, if something's aligned to your purpose and you want to do something, go for it and just take the first step. Also, I think it's important to dream big. Would you agree, Alan? Is that don't limit yourself to I can only earn this much in my business, but to have big dreams, because when you set, you don't really, we often set goals that are based on our limitations or our mindset, as you said before. But what the universe has for us is far more than what we can even think about, right? What would you say
So
to
that's the key
someone?
thing, because once you find out who you really are, you
Mm,
understand how powerful you really are.
mm,
And when you understand how powerful you really are, you need bigger goals. Okay. And that's what I mean in becoming anti-fragile, is
mm,
that it's like we coddle ourselves. It's like, it's not, it's like everyone gives a license to complain. Oh yeah, how bad it is, or how work sucks, or how, oh, poor you, poor me. And we like look for sympathy, but that doesn't move us forward into our purpose, into our passion. So we need to attract people who have bigger goals and have different mentors. So they say, the five people that you invest in or surround you basically define you. So if you want bigger goals, you need to have a mentor. Like I'm in this CEO organization, I have a mentor, and that helps me. Even though I do business coaching or I've done business coaching, you have someone who's been down the road further who can help you see your blind spots and help you grow. So if
yeah,
you want to grow, you need to have a coach. It's like every uh, top tennis player has a coach. Every
yeah,
every baseball team has 5 or 6 coaches. Every football team has 10 coaches. They spend more time off the field in a football team looking at film, doing coaching, doing practicing than on the field. But in our
yeah,
lives, we just like go through the day and we just do a lot of things, but we don't do as much reflection and understanding. And that's where mindfulness comes in, is just having a time of your day where you just sit down and just be with whatever's happening in your life and just notice it and just be with it. What are you feeling? What are you experiencing? What am I
mm,
learning? Am
mm,
I growing? Am I doing what I really want to be doing? And just
mm.
ask some powerful questions and
Yeah,
hang out with those questions. Sometimes the questions are more powerful than the answers.
yeah, yeah.
Just
I know.
hang out with those questions.
Yeah, I feel also as Eckhart Tolle says, being present in the present moment is so important because you only ever have the present moment. Yesterday was a present moment. Today's a present moment. Tomorrow will be a present moment, and that's all you ever have. And as you know, our subconscious mind only ever understands the present moment. It doesn't know. It also doesn't understand between reality and fake. So whatever you feed it is whatever it's going to believe. And what you were saying before, my partner put a post on LinkedIn yesterday about she's a financial advisor, and she says, as a financial advisor, I still have to go to another financial advisor to get advice because it's that an analogy of like a builder never finishes his house because he's always building someone else's.
Yes.
So, if a listener downloads KiFlow today, what is the first thing that they should try, and what kind of impact could they expect to feel immediately?
Well, the whole idea of the app is you go into it and you just tell whatever is stressing you out, whether it's financial, whether it's something at work, whether it's relationship, whether it's something with health. So basically, you just start with whatever you're feeling. I mean, we can have stress in every area of our life, but you just start with one area and focus on that. And then the AI guide takes it all in and then starts to ask you questions. What is going on in your body? What are your emotions? What are your thoughts? And it guides you to get really clear exactly what's triggering your stress. Once you understand what that bottom line fear and limiting core belief is, then the AI can suggest a growth mindset and new core beliefs that you can adopt. And out of those new core beliefs, it helps you find what's appropriate actions to take and what appropriate actions to not take, what are inappropriate
Mm,
actions. Because in stressful situations, the problem is you make it worse because you continue the reaction. You keep blaming the person, or it's their fault, and you don't take any ownership that you've created the situation. So once you've defined the problem of the fear, you've taken responsibility, then you have the power back to change it. But you can't change something unless you understand what's causing the problem. So that's what you can expect. And once you do that, it makes a powerful breakthrough and you have an insight. So the key is the app is to give you an insight, and
mm,
it just proposes different things that you do you resonate with this? Is this resonating? Oh, I never thought of that. Oh yeah, yeah, that's really what's going on, and because it's all subconscious, so the app keeps proposing different things for you to consider, and you select exactly what resonates with you. And that leads you down your own path to have your own insights. So it's very
yeah.
personalized and it's very safe. It's not judgmental. It's very encouraging.
Mm.
And it leads you into that flow again and that resilience.
That's great. Thank you for that, Alan. Now, Alan, if people have been listening to this episode and they feel like they want to connect with you and learn more about your business and KiFlow, how can they do so?
Well, KiFlow is KI, which is key, which is like chi, KiFlow.app. Okay. You can go there and it has the links to the app stores, or you can go directly to the Google store or the Apple App Store, and you'll find KiFlow there. If you want to understand our software and how software can transform your business, you can go to KiBiz Systems, KIBIZ Systems.com, and it will help you understand how the software can transform your business. So
Mm,
those are two websites that people can go to right now and learn more if they want to. The app is like a 7-day free trial. So you can just try it out. But, basically it's only like $90 for a whole year to use the app. And if you really want to make a difference and an impact in your stress level, having a companion, a tool like that for $90, I mean, that's cheaper than one therapy session. Okay. And it will be an opportunity for you to really propel you into a whole new level of self awareness, self knowledge, and understanding of who you really are, to give you a whole different mindset of how stress is an opportunity for you to be stronger rather than an annoyance to get rid of.
Yeah, nice. We'll put those links into the show notes so people can click on those as well and get to those apps. Now, we're at the part of the podcast episode now where I've got 6 quick fire questions for you. You could choose to answer these in a single sentence or a single word. The first question, if you're ready, is...
Sure, go ahead.
Just give me a second. So the first question is, how do you define success? And has that definition evolved for you over time?
Well, success usually is about how much money you make and how many toys you can buy. But for me, success is how fulfilled I feel as a human being and how peaceful I am and how much I'm enjoying my life and how joyful I can be and how much love I can experience, and just increasing my capacity to just be in the now, like you were talking about.
Yeah, that's great. Who's been your greatest inspiration and why?
Well, when I left the ashram, I started working with a guy named Tim Galloway, who wrote The Inner Game of Tennis. Inner Game of Golf. It's one of the most best-selling tennis books ever. And he was all about how you can really improve your performance in tennis or golf by playing the inner game. And I did seminars with him at AT&T on the inner game of work. So he helped me make that transition from the ashram into creating my own work life by me getting empowered. So he was an inspiration for me.
What is something that you believe that others may disagree with?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Most people think stress is a problem, and I see stress as a gift. And fear is an opportunity to get more clear what you really want. Like you said, it's what's in, fear is what you don't want. Desire is what you do want. And so making that shift is maybe counterintuitive, because what seems natural, because we've been stressed for so long, we think that's normal. But really, when you find your real self and your authentic self, you realize that's what's natural. And the stress is really unnatural because it doesn't turn off. I mean, stress is a natural reaction if it turns off, but the problem is it doesn't turn off. Okay.
Yeah. And in saying that, treat fear as your companion, because it's always going to be with you. And lean into it rather than stepping away from it. And the more you do that, the more you're going to be able to face everything and rise up, right? So if you could go back to your younger self, what would be one piece of advice that you'd give yourself?
Don't be afraid. Just keep going, no matter all the setbacks. Like I did an infomercial on TV back in the 90s, and I worked on it for years. It was the culmination of all my seminars, and it didn't go as planned. Okay, but it led me to then creating my software business, and now it really, then led me to bringing my personal growth passion and merging it with my technology. So even though it was a big failure, setback, it led me into greater success.
Yeah. And your setbacks are actually your greater setups, or your setups for your greater comeback, right? So yeah. So again, setbacks aren't bad things; they're just setting you up for something bigger. Yeah. If you lean into it, and if you let it as well, like you said, let go of the stuff and let it happen. What is one message that you'd like to share with the world?
Have a daily practice just to grow yourself. Just take half an hour, take 20 minutes, just to sit and just be with yourself, whether it's to journal, whether it's just to breathe, whether it's to meditate, whether it's to use an app that you like. Just take time for yourself. Uh, and that's going to help you stay centered to meet the challenges that you face every day.
100%. Yeah, agree. I have a routine I do every morning and while I'm lying in bed, and it's gratitude, grounding, and setting intentions. So intention. What is it called? Yeah, I forgot the name of it, but it's setting the intentions basically. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
gratitude is essential.
yeah. 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 Absolutely. Now, the last question is, what does it mean to you to be a champion and to have a champion mindset?
Well, I think I've said it a few times. It's to have a
Mm,
growth mindset, to really
mm,
be open to learn and grow every day and
mm.
face whatever you're feeling and keep expanding your capacity to feel your feelings, be willing to be uncomfortable, and take risks to have bigger and bigger goals.
Totally. Yeah. And that's it. Be as uncomfortable as you can. I have a saying that I'm always living in my uncomfortable zone, in the uncomfortable zone, because that's where I grow. So yeah, stay uncomfortable and keep growing. Well, Alan, thank you so much for sharing your journey and your insights, and also if, all this about all the information you've shared about KiFlow and KeyBiz as well, and how this can help people really stop letting stress run their life. So check out KiFlow. As Alan said, it's available on the App Store, Apple App Store, and the Google Play Store. But there's also a website. We'll put the links in the show notes. This AI-powered app is going to help you transform any stressful situation into calm and help you be more creative and empowered into the flow state. And that's in under 20 minutes. So, you know what? You have 24 hours in a day, and if you can't spend 20 minutes prioritizing yourself, then there's something wrong there. So I encourage you and I challenge you to spend 20 minutes with this amazing app to give yourself permission to change your life, because you are the pilot of your plane. No one's coming to save you. Only you can save yourself. So step into clarity, step into confidence, and step into flow. And lastly, I just want to say you are loved, you are worthy. Champion your life, champion your greatness, and have an amazing day.
Thank you, Anthony. This has been fantastic. Thank you for sharing your podcast.
Thank you, Alan.